welcome back to another episode of Two Scrippers One Pole. I just realized that last week's episode I was wearing like a blue crop top, and now I'm wearing that same blue but a hoodie. Um, it's still hot as shit in here, but it's pretty early in the morning. It's not 8 o'clock yet, so it's still pretty cool. And it rained last night, and I think it's supposed to rain today. So I just want to express gratitude for the rain. Like I already love the rain, but I definitely be looking forward to the rain now. My coffee table is messy. That's kind of my life right now. Anywho, um, unfinished thoughts from last week. So one, I was talking about this picture that Mo Money took of me, and how like when I don't like a person, I no longer I don't have as much of a filter in how I respond to or treat people, and I'm definitely working on that. However, like when it comes to business, I could hate you and still work with you, cuz I'm not about fucking up anybody's money, right? um Now it also depends on like, why do I hate you, like what did you do, right? But I can still work with people that I don't really like. But if I don't have to work with you, then I don't really have much of a reason. But sometimes that like filter unawareness or that's not what I want to say, and I'm not even sure if that makes sense, but I have faith that y'all are picking up what I'm putting down. Um, but yeah, like if I don't really care for a person, sometimes it is harder for me to like, it's just so, I guess, programmed in me to just be like, you don't exist as a person, so I limit as much interaction with you. But definitely something that I have become more aware of, and definitely try to navigate more. What I was talking about though was that particular roommate, like I really just didn't fuck with her for a plethora of reasons, and I don't remember what we were talking about, but I think I had like asked her something or said something, and I was listening to her response, but I was sitting there like flipping the trash can while I was talking to her, or while I was listening to her, because I wasn't really talking to her. So I was like flipping it, but I have this death stare in my face. So if I can find the picture, I will post it, because that was crazy. And then just another unfinished thought. I was talking about how like I really don't care to talk to people. I'm not a talker. I don't like. I'm a talker, but I'm not. And I know that people who get it, right? You know exactly what I'm talking about. So I had said something about Hinge, and I remember a couple, like back when calling all fart connoisseurs, I was talking about, oh yeah, I'm on Hinge looking for like a platonic investor, a no sugarless sugar daddy. And I had went on a date. The date went well, right? But this is the problem. I suck at texting back. I thought they getting two phones was gonna help me separate things. And it did, but then sometimes I just completely shut down. Like I be shutting down because people talking to me is too much. So it's like, why do you have a podcast? Because then people gonna talk to you. And why do you have this and da da da? I don't know. Okay, this is what the universe gave to me, and I love it, and I'm navigating it, right. But in an ideal setting, like, and I've always said when I was younger, like in terms of my art, that I don't really want to be a famous artist. Like I've never necessarily desired to be downright famous. Do I have the capacity? Absolutely. I'm fucking hilarious. I'm gorgeous. Like I have things going for me. So I feel like that's in my future. But that's not necessarily what I want, right? So then I think about how I get endless emails like, oh, you're CEO, you're not reaching the people that you could. And it's like, I'm not worried about reaching those people right now. I actually want to stay as low key as possible. And I just want as natural engagement as possible. So if you subscribed, shout out to you. If you listen, like if you're like, yeah, new episode of Two Scrippers One Pole, I fuck with you, right? Because we're starting small, and one day when we're big, it was y'all that got me there, right? But yeah, I've just never desired to be famous or in the spotlight, but I have a personality that naturally just like puts me there, having been like a cheerleader in middle school and high school, and always just been ready to step in front of it. And I think too, it's a difference between performing and like other things, because honestly, when you're out performing, whether it's a dance, it's like a song or a cheer or whatever it is you do that requires you to get up in front of a stage of people, it's like I've never really done like a speech, or I've done speeches actually, but I guess something similar to like podcasting live, or what else would I say, like a really formal presentation in front of a large group. I've never done anything like that, and I don't think I couldn't do it. I would just I don't know. But when it comes to like performing arts or other things of that nature, it's like I don't really be seeing people. I just see I see lights shining on me, and I see blurs of people, and I'm just like, you can't stop fucking moving, bitch. Even when I used to cheer, like if you are a cheerleader or were a cheerleader, like facials were my shit. I was on it, just like, and I probably look crazy, but it's like, you just gotta like nod and smile and like I didn't never used to do that. It's been a while since I cheered, so like my facials aren't as great as they used to be. But one thing about me, I used to cheer, baby. Yeah, I forget what that's called. Defense. There was one cheer, DEFENSE, defense, Raiders. I think that was it Raiders? DEFENSE, defense, Raiders. That's what it was. What was it? Hinge. That's what I was talking about. And then I went on a cheer thing. It's starting to get hot because I'm moving too much and talking too much. Yeah, so I had went on a date and it went well, right? And we was talking, and I told him, so on Hinge, that was the other thing too. On Hinge, I have a different name. And so I was talking to this one dude. He was an older gentleman. Conversation went really well, went great, right? But then I was like, all right. Originally, when I started my Hinge, I had set up my profile like one way. I didn't really give as much detail because the other thing is like, I'm not necessarily here for dating per se, you know? And I'm looking for a specific type, whether it's a submissive type or like a platonic investor. And you can't say like I'm looking for a sugar daddy or like it's certain words that if you put, then they're obviously going to flag you and like ban you and blah, blah, blah. So you got to be careful in that. But also like, I don't want people was just liking me because I'm cute. And I think where I fucked up too was that I did like men and women. So it was just like a whole bunch of stuff happening. I was like, oh my God. And y'all, my phone's over there. But between like my cohort group me, I'm still in the cohort group me, but I took the summer off, but they're all taking summer classes. So they're all talking. That'd be like 50, 60 plus. Then Instagram, I just be getting all these people sending me memes and things that, whether it's related to hot dogs. Speaking of which, it's crazy that it's mid-July and I have yet to go to a fucking cookout. We not upholding the culture like the aunties and uncles used to do. I'm thoroughly disappointed in y'all, because why haven't I been to a cookout yet? Also, it's hot as balls though, so like I'm not too mad, because like I'm not trying to have a heat stroke in the name of a glick. But we, like, summer is slowly evading us, okay? So I need y'all to hurry up. Maybe not a traditional cookout. Maybe go get you a little George Foreman grill. Go inside with the AC. We had to do that once because we went over my brother's house to have a cookout, and the grills in the neighborhood were all propane tanks, and we old school. We use charcoal, baby. So it literally, we were outside for like an hour trying to figure out how to turn this shit on. Then we just kept like grill hopping, could not figure it out. There was another family out there trying to figure out the same thing. And so after a while, like, we prepped a shit ton of food. We was ready. We was big back central, okay? We was about to fuck that food up. And we could not get them damn grills on. So finally, we said, fuck it. And somebody went across the street to the store and bought a fucking George Foreman grill. And we grilled in the house, and it was delicious. After, like, literally at least 2 hours had went past, we should have been done. What a grand time. That was actually a fun time. But yeah, like, I need y'all to keep that energy, okay? Because what's happening, and could I do it? Yes, but my life is everywhere right now. So I'm just here to provide the vibes and make sure all the food you cooked got ate, okay? So send me DMV cookouts. What's up? Hinge. So went on a date. Said that like 3 times. Went great. Before we went on a date, we were like talking. This is where I was at. So I had my profile set up very generically, and then once I just kept getting likes and likes and likes, I was like, all right, I need better organization or something. Like, I don't know. So I started putting things like, looking for platonic investors, friends, and S-types. And by this point, I had already matched with a lot of people. So then I had put in my thing, because it lets you say, like, whether you're looking for a life partner, you're just like seeing where the wind takes you, and all of that stuff. So I put that I was non-monogamous and that I do have a main partner, but I didn't realize that was not showing on my profile. So I had matched with people and we're having conversations, and they thinking I'm single looking for, a partner, and that's not the case. Like, I have a main partner. And so I was like, I need to make this clear to people that I'm not looking for an addition, okay? I'm already talking to 2 people. I don't need no more, right? 2 is enough. And so I had, like, after I realized that, I changed my profile to state that, and then the people that I was more heavily talking to, I had said, like, oh, just so you know, like, I've really been enjoying talking to you. However, like, my profile, I didn't realize my profile didn't say this, right? And I was talking to mainly 3 people. They all, like, took it really well. They all, like, and I went as far as telling them, this is the line of work I'm in, and everybody took it well. So the one dude that I actually did go on a date with, I had told him, and he's like, oh, okay, well, like, do you have room for another, da-da-da? And I was like, well, it's not that I don't have room for another, but that's not what I'm looking for. This is, I'm just out here trying to make connections, see where the winds take me, but I'm not, like, am I opposed to it? No. However, I'm being upfront and letting you know I got a lot of things going on, and to add a whole nother partner to my plate is not what I'm looking for. So I was very upfront about that. He was like, okay, understood, da-da-da. We go on a date. And the date went really well. He was a former educator, so we was talking about that. And we just had a really good conversation. We went out to the restaurant, and then because we were out at the harbor actually, so we went to the restaurant, and then we had, like, went down and we were watching the ducks and all of that stuff. So I think honestly the only reason why we went our separate ways was because it was like some football, something, some sport was on that he really wanted to watch and like not miss. He was like, dang, I don't want to go. And I was like, I wouldn't mind sitting out here all day with you, but you're right, we gotta go. And so then after that is when I realized like I had COVID or whatever. And so, we had that conversation, but we were still texting. But I know he got sick of me because I'm bad at texting. And I ended up telling him my real name too, because the conversation was just like really well. And I was like, oh, this is who I am. This is that and the third and da da da. And so, yeah, he took that well. It's funny because that's the second time I've done that I've introduced myself to somebody as a different name. And then after talking to them, I'm like, oh, you're actually kind of dope. And I'm like, so I told a little Phil, but that's not really my name. The first time I said my name was Giselle. The second time. And then, after I told him my name, and like at the end of the conversation somebody suggested a different name, and I was like, oh, what do you think about this name? He's like, oh, that's way more believable than that shit you told me. And I was like, okay. So that is my my fake name that I tell people now. But anyway, so yeah, like we have been texting, but being sick and dealing with all the other shit, I just never really. And he was like so adamant. I told him I had COVID. And he's just like, oh, like, I'm feeling fine. It's cool. Like, I would still love to hang out and see you. Da, da, da. Maybe go back outside this and the third. And it was like, I didn't feel pressured. And I really wasn't annoyed. It's just that, like, overstimulation. I have messages everywhere. And I have people constantly talking about how they want to hang out with me, and honestly it's too much for me because I have so much shit to do, right? And so when I don't have shit to do, I really don't care to be around people, and I don't care to respond to people because my brain is constant. Is that a spider web? That is a spider. I've been seeing so many spider webs. Maybe I should look it up. Yo, I saw a praying mantis the other day. I have not seen a praying mantis in forever, and I had to look it up, and it's like, what is the meaning of seeing a praying mantis? And it was like one of the main things was talking about like in some cultures, I forget, because it had different meanings in different cultures, but the overall was kind of just like patience and being still and just like waiting. The time is coming, and like given everything that's going on in my life right now, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. But I was petrified, y'all. I was terrified because it took me a minute to realize, like, I haven't seen a praying mantis in years. And I had went on my balcony and I sat down. I went out there so I could smoke a little weed, and I look on the chair handle. I look, and it was just like, and I was like, so I literally just like moved my leg, and when I moved my leg, that's when it looked at me, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. So it was just like rocking back and forth, like moving its little needle hands, rocking back and forth. Then that motherfucker got to like twisting its head all like exorcist shit, like, and like, and then this big like bulgy eyeballs. I was like, oh my God, I'm about to die right now. I was so terrified, y'all. I was terrified. And so it just kept looking like it was about to like turn and jump on me, because it moved its body, and then it started kind of like rocking back and forth like it was just about to propel on me. And I was like, oh my God, because the first time I moved, that's when it moved its body, and I was like, oh, it's ready to attack me. And I didn't want to move too fast because I didn't want to startle it and then therefore make it attack me. And I just, oh, it's a birdie. I just really didn't know what to do. So after probably about 3 to 5 minutes of just sitting there contemplating my life, I finally like jumped up and ran to the other chair. And then I wasn't scared anymore. So I'm looking at it and just like really trying to observe it. I spent a lot of time observing it when I was in a chair, but I just couldn't even smoke no more. I was so just ramped up from that. And I was at this point, right? So I was at the chair that was closest to the door, and I wasn't ready to stop looking at it. So I moved to a different chair. This chair is further from the door. So now I really put myself in a fucked up position because I have to now go past the threat when I should have just went to the other side and then ran, like completely avoided it. But yeah, so I sat there again for a little bit, and then I got up and ran into the house because I was just so scared. And I don't know where it went. I honestly don't. Oh, is it doing that thing my mama said it was gonna do? It do look a little crazy. Sorry, y'all. I'm looking at my plant. So that was terrifying. The praying mantis. How did I get to the praying mantis? I was talking about my unfinished Hinge date. But yeah, he didn't give me like creep vibes. It literally is just like me and my bad response. So he had like texted me, and then I would text him back every couple of days because I would honestly just forget, or it would be too much. But I did tell him this. I told him this in person, that I am trying to be better about talking and responding and like just being an honest person. And I told him how I'm bad at that. And I like before I gave him my number, when we were still talking on Hinge, he had like sent me multiple messages back to back, and I can't do that. That's why all of my group chats are on mute. I hate it. And so I told him, like, I get overwhelmed when it's too many messages back to back, He's like, okay, yeah, I understand, but still sent me multiple messages, right? And all of them were geared towards like wanting to see me. And it wasn't that I didn't want to see him. It was just that I get overwhelmed. And so I'm still, like everything in life, I'm still working through it. And so, like, I think I had, like, texted him a couple days later. He never responded. And then I texted him Happy Father's Day because he did tell me he had 2 children. And he never responded. And I was going to text him one more time, like, a couple of days later. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. It's water under the bridge. And then there was another guy. We never made it off Hinge. But he was real cool. Like, he was a nigga that I was talking to about killing the bugs and all of that shit. He was real cool. And I had kind of really stopped talking to him because he was one of the people that was just really flabbergasted by me having COVID. Like, damn, that shit's real. And then it came up in conversation that I was a dom too, because we naturally just started talking about sex workers. And I was like, okay, well, since we're on a topic, and he was like, oh yeah, that's dope. Like, very respectful. And then we kind of got into a conversation about like dom subs. And he was very adamant about how he's not a sub type, and whatever. And I was just like, all right, dude. So it was like that, and then coupled with like the flabbergasting of having COVID. And then I just got like completely disinterested from the app because it was like once I realized I was battling that whole week with symptoms, not knowing I had COVID. Then I finally found out I had COVID, and I was already overwhelmed with like the amount of people that I was talking to on there. And then just the responses I got, it was like, eh. So it was one other person that we had been talking, we were texting, and it was just, again, one of those things. I think I still haven't even responded. Let me look. Y'all, I'm real bad. I'm so bad. And if you ever come across this, I'm sorry. The last time he responded was on the 23rd of June, and we're not in July. We're not at July 20th yet, but we close. It's been almost a month. I really don't have an excuse. But it's one of those. So my excuse is that it's like I don't be not responding on purpose. I get overwhelmed, so I shut down. And then because I shut down, I feel guilty. And then at that point, it's like so much time has passed because I'm in this shutdown realm that it's like after a while, you can't keep saying like I'm bad at texting or I'm overwhelmed. Like you gotta really do something. So I feel really bad. And so that's why I just say no new friends, because having to explain that to people is stressful. All of my friends know that this is me in my life. But also all of my friends, y'all look at my Squirtle. I was at summer camp yesterday. We were doing this so the project was the other teaching artist led it, but the project was to make like watercolor resist jellyfish. I didn't really want to do a jellyfish, but it was open ended. So we they had um explained it as jellyfish watercolor resist, but if you wanted to draw something else you could. So I was like, I'm not really feeling jellyfish, and I don't really need I don't need any just like randomly done artwork. So if I'm gonna do this, I want it to be something that like I actually like, and I want to frame this little guy. So I was like, let me do Squirtle. My top two favorite Pokemon. Squirtle is my number one. I love Squirtle, and then my second one is Eevee because of all the evolutions. So I was like, let me do Squirtle. And we use masking fluid, which I've never used masking fluid before. And so for those who are not artists, what masking fluid is, it's like this liquid that you paint on the surface of whatever you're working on, and then it dries. And you can color around it, over top of it, whether that's paint. We did find out that it works with oil pastels as well. And then before you do that part, you gotta wait for it to dry. So you paint it over any areas you don't want to have color on it, and then you let it dry, and then you paint around it. And when you're done, you can peel it up, and it reveals the white spot. Or if like you colored that area before you did it, whatever color's under there. So I did my little Squirtle. I love him so much. I love him. Oh my god, I'm gonna frame him. But anyway. So, I was talking about, yeah, that's just why I don't want new friends. That's that whole thing, really. So it's like I really go back and forth on whether I want to do Hinge or not, because I definitely like it better than Seeking Arrangements, which is what I'm looking now. And like Seeking Arrangements is supposed to be like for finding sugar daddies, right? But oh man, it logged me out. I don't even know what my password is, broski. The fuck. This is, hold on, let me see, because I used my student email, so that this is for Seeking Arrangements, so that I could get a premium account for free. But Seeking Arrangements used to be for like, I'm looking for a sugar daddy, where they at? And then it became like a real dating site and a scammer site. So it's like nothing serious comes of it. The only thing that I've had come out of it that seemed serious was the one dude, but he was really confused that like people who just want to pay you for company exist. And like I said, he tried to clown me, and I'm like, if you broke, just say that. Like, what? Why you gotta bring me down because you a broke nigga? Make it make sense. Y'all don't be making no damn sense out here. Anyway, and y'all be so ugly. I be meaning to delete my what is this thing called? Delete my Seeking Arrangements. But I say all that to say, I think I'm gonna give Hinge one more try, and only do like one person at a time. And just make sure that my profile says what I wanted to say. So yeah, that was all under unfinished thoughts. What else do I want to talk about today? Oh, so I did not watch the Tokyo Tony game thing because it's on Zeus, which I did not know, which also makes everything make way more sense, because it's fucking Zeus. I do not have a Zeus Network subscription. I did have this one girl that I had met. We had like hung out one time, and she gave me her Zeus Network login so I could finish watching a show, because I'm really not into, like, I didn't grow up watching Bad Girls Club. I didn't watch any of the quote unquote ratchet television shows, because I didn't have ratchet TV growing up. And so when I have seen these shows, like, it's more of I'll watch it because I'm in the room and it's on, but I've never been like, oh my God, I need to see this. So I think we were watching like Jocelyn's Cabaret, and she gave me her information to finish watching it. And I was like, oh yeah, but then I never like followed through with it, because I think I was like watching something else, and yeah, whatever. So I don't have a Zeus subscription. It's one of those things I watch over people's houses, so maybe I need to go and watch the episode for myself. But I did watch like some recaps and stuff on YouTube, what I could find, and I should have known how crazy it was. I think everything that I said last week is still very valid, but because I did say I was going to watch it and get more background, like, from what I saw, both of them were out of pocket, but Tokyo Tony is always out of pocket. It was a lot more like back and forth and backhanded compliments, and honestly it was energy matching energy. Like, before he even came out there, she was talking crazy, and then when he came out there, he was talking crazy as shit, actually. And I still didn't really see the full part of like what happened, what dialogue happened for her to do that, but all of it was just crazy and out of pocket. And so I have witnessed in person, no, back to what I was saying, like, the whole reason why I brought that up is because I was talking about how, like, men are just, like, really trash, and I also made a comment about how, like, it's not always all men, and some women do behave in a vulgar manner towards men as well, or an inappropriate manner towards men as well. And so I think it was definitely, like, an energy for energy thing. And Game was definitely out of pocket with a lot of the things he was saying to her, but that still doesn't excuse, like, it's still just, I don't care what the conversation was for you to just like whoop. And she came back apparently and like went on live and was talking about, oh, everybody talking about how I did this, but nobody was talking about how he said this or he did that, and that is very true. So it was kind of like a clickbait kind of thing, like I mentioned. So I just wanted to touch on that. The whole point of what I was saying last week is, like, y'all just need to be better about talking to people and not objectifying each other. And when you do things like that, consent. And this is why we need sex ed, proper sex ed. And now I will take this time to tell you to go on over to Balessa and use code BBNUTS. BB Bustin' Nut. I don't know why. Okay. Rewind. Thank you for tuning in to Mango's masturbation site. We're here to talk about bustin' nuts. And lucky for you, if you use code BB Bustin' Nuts, what the fuck? Okay, I don't know what just happened. I'm really trying to do this dang podcast without any hiccups and do this day. I'm trying to get a nice clean what is it? A nice clean ad. And my this thing, my microphone is now, it just randomly started delaying. So as I was talking, it cut off and then said what I just said, and I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, I'm gonna just turn it, because that's really gonna fuck me up. So I'm just gonna do this episode with no headphones. But Anyway, welcome to Mango's Masturbation Mansion. That's not what I said the first time, but that's what I'm saying now because I'm doing it off the dome. Here we bust nuts endlessly. So go ahead using the link in the description and use code BBBustedNuts for 30% off your next sex toy order. And while you're at it, head on over to patreon.com/2scrippersonepole and subscribe. Become part of the Champagne Room and get access to behind the scenes pole play, toy talk, and I'm getting a lot of notifications on my phone right now. It's so hard to focus, and I have a thought that I want to project, and I need to finish this. And Tales of a Sensual Findom. What the fuck was I trying to say? Damn it. Somebody is blowing my Instagram up right now. This isn't what I was gonna say, but I'm really excited because I'm getting a free toy, yet another free toy from Balasa. And I'm really fucking excited about this one because for forever, I have wanted one of those toys that has like the imitation tongue, so you could like give yourself head essentially. And that is the toy that I'm getting. I'm so excited. It's the Flutter one. So best believe once that bitch come, I'm gonna review it. So I'm like, y'all, for those of you who are listening, I'm smiling so hard because when I saw that they were doing like, you know, for the brand ambassadors that they were doing the freebies, I was like, oh my God. I've wanted this toy for fucking ages. So I really, 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 really hope, and I know because honestly, there's only one Balesa toy that I have that is a miss. Everything else is definitely a motherfucking hit, okay? Whether it's using it on yourself or using it in like, you know, with a partner, these toys be bussin', okay? There's the only one. And I will check out Patreon because the next toy talk will be a Balesa toy review. And I'm waiting for that toy to come so I can include it in that toy review. But yeah, it's only one toy that I have from Balesa that is just like, y'all really missed the ball. I don't know who was in the focus group for this one, but they was lying. Everything else, I love it. So use code BBBustedNuts for 30% off your next toy. And it was something else I was gonna say that came to mind when I got excited, and I don't remember. So yeah, anyway, my next order, I was talking about like sex ed, right? And then so that brings me to what else I wanted to talk about, y'all. So you know, in 2024, really, black people, we could never be serious about anything. And so y'all know that this man, Agent Orange, running for the Republican nominee, he got shot at, right? And so I was talking to my friend, and I was just like, I do not condone assassination, okay? And I don't wish death upon anybody. In all honesty, I don't wish death upon anybody. It just makes me sad how ignorant and like hate-filled and violent some people are. And like also to the point where it has become like, it's like, I don't really know how to navigate it, right? Because as a people, we joke entirely too much, but it also makes sense because some shit is just so ridiculous that it's like, and this is real life, like that it's like you gotta find something humorous about it, but sometimes we definitely do take it too far. But I say all that to say is that like, because of a president's life being threatened is a serious thing, you know? We've seen this throughout history, and like how I don't know what word I'm trying to say, but it's definitely a big historical moment, right? And it's just, I think it's because of who it is that it's like, this nigga, you missed, you know? But him being, I saw this damn, it's a, well, no, I sent it as a text message. I saw this thing, which, let me see if I can pull it up on my messages here, because I think that this would be the perfect, this guy said it. He said it. Yes. Okay.
It's crazy. They really shot Trump and missed, failed. You know how annoying he's gonna be now? They tried to shoot me. They missed. They couldn't kill me. You can't kill me. I'm invincible. Just like the economy when it's run by Donald J. fucking Trump. They shot me in the ear. What an idiot. It's not even a vital organ. I didn't even flinch. When they shot me, I said, ow. Ooh, they shot me. That hurt. In the hospital, I had an African doctor, and he worked very well. This is my good friend. He helped me. He saved me. I didn't need saving, but he saved me. He helped me. He got the bullet out.
Oh, it paused while I was recording.
On, fucking Wi-Fi. Shit is pissing me off.
Like, this is a dying nation, and I'm not gonna die on this nation. You need me. You need me. I need you. I need the American people. I survived this shooting. My competition, he could never survive a shooting. If he was shot, he would be dead. You wouldn't even have to shoot him. You could just breathe on him. He's that old.
And it's like, it's funny, but that's really the fact that was a perfect impression, hands down. The fact that a person like that has been the president of the United States and is running again and essentially trying to turn America into a dictatorship is insane. Meanwhile, everybody's just kind of laughing and like, oh, this isn't real. This isn't going to happen. History has a way of repeating itself, right? And that's what we thought the first time. Everybody was like, oh my God, this is a joke. This can't be real. And then what the fuck, right? And so I think especially now more than ever is super, super important for people. Because I will say, I've never been a politics person, right? And I've heard the debate, how could you not be into politics and da-da-da? And it's more so of just, it's hard to understand. For the basic person, it's a lot of jargon. And it's a lot, like, it is a lot to wrap your mind around. And if you don't feel like on a day-to-day basis you're directly impacted by whatever happens, or you feel like your vote doesn't matter, it's hard to like get motivated and like know what's going on. And especially in history class, they don't, at least in the history classes I taught really, or that I had, it was just all like old history. It wasn't like current, this is what's going on, this is what this means. Like, I don't really remember ever truly learning about the voting system and all the different parts of the government. Like, I can name them, but can I really tell you what goes into everything? And as I get older, just seeing how corrupt everything is. So I say all that to say is that, like, you know, do your fucking research. And if you are registered to vote, please, please, please go out and vote this November. Your vote does count. And if you are not registered to vote, please, please, please register to vote. Because, you know, there's trying to make making it harder for voters. It's like, I don't even know. There's so many things and I could say that I want to say, but also because of that piece of like, I never really talk politics because I don't feel as well versed in it. And I never want to speak on something that I don't truly understand, right? So there's been a lot of talk about Project 2025, especially since Taraji P. Henson had made that announcement. I think it was the BET Awards. I don't watch award shows, so I don't remember what award show it was, but she was talking and she said, like, you know, go look it up. So I did that, and it's crazy. It's crazy. And Mr. Trump is definitely trying to separate himself from it and say that, like, he doesn't know anything about it and this, that, and the third. But first of all, we know this man be lying like shit. He be lying through his teeth. Two of his former presidential, like when he was president, they were on his like advisory board or something. They were in his office. They're like the two spearheaders of this project 2025 shit. And there were some things that he was already putting into place, and they're like things that he's essentially saying the same idea, just rewording it, or like taking out one part, like, oh, that's too extreme, or this, that, and the third. So really, really, really pay attention to what is happening. Read up on these things for yourself. Make an informed decision for yourself. So Project 2025 is broken down into 4 pillars, right? So, and I'm reading this, I'll put the website in here. I'm reading it directly from project2025.org. So the 4 pillars are the policy agenda, and this is building on the legacy of Mandate for Leadership. This comprehensive policy guide for the incoming presidential administration will offer specific proposals for every major issue facing the country, pulling from the expertise of the entire conservative movement. So there's literally a 900 page book, which I actually do have full intention on reading to see how insane this is, because I've seen, like, you know, the TikToks and the reels and like the summaries of what all is going on, and it's insane. There's like, they're trying to get rid of completely get rid of the Department of Education, right? And so as a former educator, do I necessarily support the Department of Education? Yes and no, right? I've explained my grievances. I think that the current educational system is more about indoctrinating children to be like, you know, yes men, and having to work 9 to 5, and like basically preparing them to work for the man for the rest of their lives, and like there's no, especially as you move older, you know, you're taking away recess. And I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, send stories, questions, topics, and corrections to 2scripters1poll@gmail.com. But in some places, like even younger kids aren't really, like, they might still get nap time, but they aren't really getting recess. Like, we need physical movement. We're not built to sit here and stare in front of, you know, now a lot of things are very technology based, like go outside and touch grass. Go outside and fucking touch grass. Like, we're not fucking bots. And we're not machines. We are people, and we have to like find ways to transmute our energy. And so, and I think that there's a lot of opportunities missed. Like, you have kids going to school for a good majority of their lives. You're mandating it at that, for them to go to school. There's so much controversy about what kids should be learning, but if you're going to have them in school 5 days a week for upwards of 8 hours a day, this is where they spend majority of their lives, right? So this is where they should be learning useful stuff, not no fucking Pythagorean theorem, okay? Like, we need to learn taxes. We need to learn about the government. We need to learn about sex ed, right? We need to have conversations around consent. This is important. So we're missing, like, I think that the Department of Education is underfunded, and the focus is not where it really should be. Like, we throw around these buzzwords of like social emotional learning, emotional intelligence, This is the place where we should be teaching these kids how to do that, because they spend so much time and they're working with people who are older than them, adults, and having this authority figure. They're working with their peers, and they're working with people younger than them. They're getting exposed to so many things within a school system. So this is the perfect place to really help them become like functional adults, right? And that's also working with parents. It's not working against, but the current education system is just like teachers versus parents versus students. That's how I feel, versus administration. That's how I feel it is. There are people who are in the system that are like, you know, I'm here for the kids. I want to do this or that for them, or teach them this. But working within the confines of the system is very hard, and that's why you lose. And that's not to say that anybody that still works in the system is like a bad teacher, but that is why you lose a lot of good teachers, because the system is just not conducive to true student enhancement and student learning. So yeah, with part of the proposals in this Project 2025 is to get rid of the Department of Education and essentially fund private schools. Now, the issue with this is that a lot of private schools are religious. There's supposed to be this separation of church and state, right? But now it's like you're funding schools that are more or less pushing your agenda. With a lot of religious schools or religious practices, there is this idea of abstinence only education, right? So it's like, it doesn't make any sense, because you don't want to teach people about sex or proper sex, or just like, you know, having a right to their body and understanding their body. But you still want people to have kids. Having kids requires having sex, but you want to teach abstinence only. And then when somebody gets SA'd, you don't want to really help them navigate that, or you want to make them think it was their fault because they wore a certain thing or they were hanging around a certain crowd. No, they got SA'd because this other person who violated them did not understand consent and boundaries, and felt entitled to someone else. And so now this person who got SA'd may end up pregnant or end up with something else, and they're looked upon and shamed, and not receiving any services to help them get out of that situation. Because you also want to cut, like, you know, access to birth control. You want to cut access to fucking abortion pills, or access abortion care. Like, and there's so many other reasons why abortion is on the table for people. It's not just, oh, I got pregnant and I don't want to have a baby. There's health risk associated with abortion. People who have miscarriages or have stillbirths and things like that. Like, you know, there's a lot more that goes into it than just the basic, like, oh, I was irresponsibly having sex and I'm not ready to have a child. But it's always going to be available for the people with money that need it, that don't want to be in some scandal, right? You know? There was another point that I was going to make with that. And then also too, there's like not enough research on women's bodies. There's a whole bunch of people who aren't women or have women organs, or female organs, and are having so much to say and so much authority on what happens to our bodies. I saw the other day, when I was on the Instagram, I saw a post from Impact, and there was like another woman who posted and was talking about, you know, that they recently found out that a lot of tampons have like arsenic and lead and other heavy metal, like toxic things in them. And this is because of, like, everything's always connected, right? There's like pollution from contaminated, like the cotton that is used to make the tampons is contaminated from, you know, radioactive or nuclear or whatever oil spills, all this other stuff that the big companies that make all this money, right, who are also like, climate change isn't real and da-da-da-da. It's been fucking literally every single day for the past 2 weeks, I have gotten a emergency excessive heat warning. It's been over 100, and this is just in Maryland. I can only imagine in places like Texas or California or Florida, other places that are closer to the equator and are known for being hot, what they're experiencing. Ridiculous, right? So, of course, they don't want you to know about climate change, right? Because then that means that we need to stop doing this and stop making our money. They don't want you to know about how the fields are contaminated or people are getting cancer, or this, that, and the third, or, you know, it's... So please read. Like, find reputable sources and make a decision for yourself, right? Look at the facts. not fake news. So back to Project 2025. So yeah, it's a 900-page book on proposals and things that they're trying to do. Get rid of Homeland Security, get rid of just a whole bunch of stuff. Then this one, so they also have, the second pillar is a personnel database. The most comprehensive policy agenda will have only limited impact without the right people in place to implement it. The project will cast a net across the country to identify conservatives from all walks of life to serve in the next conservative administration. You could apply for that. You could go right now and apply for that position. Never having been in any kind of like Congress, right? And I don't know, so when I went to go do my little research or whatever, and I saw that his plan is to get rid of like, who says it's his plan? It's because he claims that he has nothing to do with this. They're getting rid of elected officials, I believe. I forget, corrections, please. I forget exactly who they're getting rid of, but essentially it's like it's going to be appointed people, presidentially appointed people, to fill this role, right? So I went and I was like, let me see, right? And it's literally like I could have applied. So when you go, the first thing it asks you is like to select your political philosophy. Are you traditional conservative? Are you moderate, liberal, fiscal conservative, social conservative, paleo conservative, libertarian, neoconservative, or progressive conservative? I don't even know what half that shit means, right? That's the first question. Then it's, please briefly explain your choices of philosophy. Then name one person, past or present, who has most influenced the development of your political philosophy. Then name a book that has most significantly shaped your political philosophy, and please explain its influence on your thinking. Name one living public policy figure who you greatly admire and why. Name the one public policy issue you are most passionate about. Why are you passionate about this issue, and how would you like to see it addressed in the future? How did you hear about Project 2025? And then if it was like in a conference, a media appearance, or other to specify. Then it goes on to a series of like, do you agree or disagree questions. The United Nations should have authority over the citizens or public policies of sovereign nations. The U.S. has the right to select immigrants based on country of origin. The education industry should be opened to increased competition through vouchers or tax credits for private schools. Life has a right to legal protection from conception to natural death. The permanent institutions of family and religion are foundational to American freedom and the common good. Government should subside the use or production of energy, particularly for new and innovative energy technologies. Union membership should be the option of the employee, not a requirement for employment. The federal government should guarantee a universal basic income. The United States needs nationalized health care. The United States should increase legal immigration. The police in America are systemically racist. We should be proud of our American heritage and history, even as we acknowledge our flaws. The gender wage gap is a result of prejudice and discrimination. The U.S. should scale back its strong military presence overseas. In combating censorship by big tech, we must look to more than just the free market. The president should be able to advance his or her agenda through bureaucracy bureaucracy, that word just fucked me up, without hindrance from unelected federal officials. The federal government should recognize only two unchanging sexes, male and female, as a matter of policy. The U.S. should impose tariffs with the goal of bringing back manufacturing jobs, even if these tariffs result in higher consumer prices. Then it asks to list your social media profiles, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, any other, and then attach your resume. So basically, what they are doing is getting rid of people who are elected or qualified, and again, corrections if I'm wrong, and replacing this with a LinkedIn database, more or less. They're creating their own personnel database, which is basically like a LinkedIn. And like, do you agree? What the fuck is that? I don't know what kind of bug that is, but I'm glad it's on the other end of that glass. And it's just like, these questions are crazy. And it's like, knowing how the state of the world is, I know what answer you're looking for. First of all, the police in America are systemically racist. Literally, the police were started out as slave patrol. They were trying to catch the slaves. And then it turned into the system that it is today. Like, y'all are still imprisoning people, mainly black and brown people. You're making them, you're forcing them to work in these for-profit prisons. So the more bodies, the more money you make. You're paying them. Let me see what the jail minimum wage is, or prison minimum wage. Prison minimum wage. So, inmate wages are standard throughout state correctional facilities. The starting pay scale is based on skill category, with wages ranging from $2.16 daily for unskilled positions up to minimum wage for MCE work release positions. And then it says that, again, this is based on the Maryland General Assembly website, and it says $15 per hour as of January 1st, 2025. So I'm guessing that that's what they're trying to do, is increase it to 15. This other one, and I'm just looking at the first couple of Google things. This is from Vera Institute. It says currently the minimum wage is $13.20. The current wage for, and this is as of 2023. The current wage scale for people incarcerated here, however, ranges from 10 cents an hour to 65 cents an hour, and is determined. Oh, I guess the current minimum wage is like in the state. I don't know what state this is. And is determined by your program or assignment. The majority of prison population earns 25 cents per hour or less. I guess this is a interview. In my current program assignment, I earn 25 cents an hour. I was watching something where somebody who was a former inmate was doing that interview and was saying how they made, I've been talking for an hour, that's crazy, how they made 65 cents an hour. That's insane. And I had I had in undergrad, when I was in a position, there was a person who was president in the organization, and we had been talking about I think getting like new chairs for the office or something, because the chairs were raggedy. We didn't need them. We didn't. But it was one of those things that funds were kind of there, and it was like we could use these funds for other things. And this person made a comment of basically like, I think we found out that the chairs were whatever the website, I don't know, it was something about, it was a connection to the local prison, and we found out that the prison inmates would be making the chairs. And so he made a comment of like, who cares, they're in jail, they don't got anything else to do anyway. What what insanity, yo, white folk. Anyway, But yeah, it's like these for-profit prisons, you're not paying them anything. And I was actually I started watching Unprisoned yesterday with Kerry Washington and, oh fuck, what is his name? Oh my god, let me see. Unprisoned. And it was one that I was crying, and my partner was like, "You over there crying, ain't you?" I'm like, "Shut up, I am." It is starring Delroy Lindo. That's his name. Her name is not. Oh, okay. I thought that said Brenda Song. I was like, that is not Brenda Song. But yeah, I started watching it last night. And the father. The premise of the show is the father has been in and out of jail for several years, and like all throughout Kerry Washington's life, she was in foster homes and da 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 da. And so this time is supposed to be different, right? And he's actively trying to change his life around so that he can be there for his daughter. So they go through, she's a therapist, so there's a lot of talking about like different attachment styles and like how you respond to things and dealing with your trauma and stuff like that. And so now that her father's out of prison, and you know, she's just like, you can't stay at my house, don't ask me for any money, da da da. And it's hard for her to see him as this person that's trying, because all of her life he's just been fucking up and going back to jail, right? But then as we get to see his character too, we see how fucked up everything is. Like, you're putting these people in jail, you're taking away their rights, and then it fucks them over when they get out. You know, it's hard for them to get a job because nobody wants to hire a felon, right? And some of these people, it's like, I understand if you don't want to hire a murderer, I understand that part. But somebody selling drugs, like, they was probably selling drugs because they couldn't get a regular job, or the regular job wasn't paying enough, and they got families to feed. They got people that, like, they have real life to take care of, and that fast money is what's helping them keep food on the table. And sometimes maybe it might not be enough. It might just be enough to feed their kids and not them. You know, and so it's like, well, if they had proper education and they had proper health care and they had all this free health care, if we didn't have to pay hundreds of dollars just for somebody to tell me to go take some fucking Flonase, that money could be used elsewhere, you know, on a $50 gallon of milk. Or whatever else. Like, all of these. So to go back to these questions that it's asking, it's like, yes, we do need free health care. Everything is so privatized. People are making, like, you're counting on us to get sick. These corporations, they don't want you to know about how they're doing all this oil stuff, and the oil is leaking into whatever the fuck else. And then that causes, all of a sudden, when people start looking into it, you realize everybody in this area got cancer. Oh, there's a power plant right there. Any connection with the power plant? Oh, because they've been eating the food that's grown in the ground that's contaminated. But y'all don't want people to know that. And y'all don't want to give them access to free health care. But you want them to pay for these treatments. You want them to pay, like, because there's more money in treating than there is in curing. Let's talk about it. What else on here? Fucking, it's so many things. The federal government should guarantee a universal basic income. Y'all making up all these prices for shit, and y'all, like, the fact that people really have to debate, like, am I going to eat today? Am I going to wash clothes today? Am I going to pay rent today? Am I going to pay my car insurance today? Or having to move around money to get things done, right? And then people are like, well, even if you save this, or even, yes, but, or, and, whatever fucking word you want to use, it's like, one day at a time. And the way, like, with so much, there's a certain amount of will that you have to exercise, of, like, every day can't be a treat yourself day, right? But it also should not be, I'm beating myself up for treating myself. Now, if I'm doing something completely ridiculous that's way out of pocket that I don't have money for, yes, that's a personal problem. But I should not feel guilty. It's hot as fucking shit. I can't even find fucking solace in my own home because it's hot as shit. I got shit to do that I need to be in the house for, but it's too fucking hot to be in here 25/8 getting that shit done. So I have to go over to other people's houses to work so I can have some kind of sanity. And I've been breaking my back trying to work so I can get these bills paid and do this and do that. But it shouldn't be that way. I shouldn't go to the grocery store to buy 5 items and walk out spending damn near $70-$80. That's crazy. Like, it's all insanity. And of course, they looking for the answers that are really the wrong answers. But to them, it's right. Yeah, we don't need nationalized health care. Keep making these motherfuckers pay. Because 9 times out of 10, the people that qualify for this and are applying for this are the people that benefit from it. Got some kind of stock or some kind of tie in pharmaceuticals. So yeah, they don't want you to get better. They want you to keep taking that motherfucking medicine. Let's get into it. But I'm not into politics. Let me go back to the rest of this, right? So that's point 2. So 1 is a 900-page document of saying, like, these are the policies we're trying to put in place. Then there is the personnel database that you can apply for. Then there's training. This part's fun. So to turn this talent pool into effective conservative administrators, the project will bring together experts who have served in prior administrations and can share their knowledge through workshops, seminars, online videos, and mentorship. So this is what was the official name for it? The Presidential Administration Academy. So you can apply to enroll, and this is completely free. So look at the frequently asked questions. Does the program cost anything? No. The Presidential Administration Academy is a free program to those who are interested in serving in the next conservative administration. You will earn a certificate of completion that can be highlighted on your resume, because the courses are separated into topic-specific certificate programs. And to earn a certificate of completion, you must complete all courses included in the certificate program and pass each course. You will receive your certificate once you pass the final quiz. And then what else? Your application will be reviewed and responded to within 1 to 2 hours. So you can go on there right now. If this is like, if you're like in total support of this, you can definitely go on there right now and start learning about the Presidential Academy and all of that, right? Oh, this is crazy. This is crazy. And so so completely free training, take a couple quizzes. I guess you got to skip usually you got to score 80 out of 100. I don't know if that's correct, but yeah, so you could go in there and just do training. Anybody, me and you, like, we could just do like a powwow one night and just do it all together. Maybe I'll do like a YouTube live and we all do it. And then the other one is the 180-day playbook. So this takes you back to really the 900-page document, and the time is short and conservatives need a plan. The project will create a playbook of actions to be taken in the first 180 days of the new administration to bring quick relief to Americans suffering from the left's devastating policies. And so just saying, like, I guess a short order of like, this is what we need to done and this is what needs to be done first. So let's see if it outlines anything in here. No, it doesn't. On this specific page, it doesn't say any points, but yeah, take the time. And maybe you're a person who is conservative and you're like, and I just lost a subscriber. Oh well. This is just, all of this is insanity, right? And I feel like this is just like an extreme, and it's scary. It is horrifying. So they have like section 1. I'll read this 900-page document. These are the sections. So section 1, you have, first you have a note on Project 2025, the foreword, A Promise to America, Kevin D. Roberts, whoever that is. Section 1, taking the reins of government. Chapter 1, White House office. 2, executive office of the President of the United States, which I think, this is a sidebar, this is one of those things that's funny but not funny. Another person who had to do with all of this, his name is Russ Vought. And for my boys, the boys watchers, oh, there's a new episode tomorrow, or I guess today, because this is releasing on the 18th. Fun fact, while you're listening to this, I will be on my way to New York City to go sit on a sub's face and punch him in the balls and use him as a footrest and all that other stuff. I'm super fucking excited, actually. Anyway, so wish me luck, y'all. I'm about to be out in New York City whooping some ass. But anyway, so to all the boys watchers, the parent company is Vought, and this show is definitely like a parody, sadistic, what is like satire, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and is like making direct shots at our political system. And I will die on this hill. Homelander is what Trump would be with fucking superpowers, and that is terrifying to think. And I could go on more conspiracy theories and things like that, but I'm not gonna do it. But it's just like, it's like if you really watch The Boys, the only thing that is different is that there's people with superpowers. But then if you want to think of like, what could a superpower translate to, if you have an obscene amount of money, and we see how people get away with shit all the time because they have money, and there's no true distribution of wealth, right? I've also was watching, I never saw Sausage Party the movie, but they do have a show spinoff, Sausage Party Foodtopia, and it's definitely also satire about like the political system. And so it's, if you've never seen Sausage Party, it's a lot. Like I said, I never watched the movie, but the TV show, I've seen enough. It is food fucking each other. There's this very heavily sex based. It's insane. But once you get past like the crazy sex that is happening, it has some good points. Yeah, Unprisoned is a good show too. I was talking about, that's how I started talking about that. But it's just like, everything. Oh, let me go back to this. I'll go back to this and I'll finish my thought about Unprisoned. So Chapter 3, Central Personnel Agencies, Managing the Bureaucracy. Section 2, the Common Defense, the Department of Defense, Department of Homeland Security, Department of State, Intelligence Community, Media Agencies, Agency for International Development. That is Chapters 4 through 9. Section 3, the General Welfare. Department of Agriculture, Department of Education, Department of Energy and Related Commissions, Environmental Protection Agency, Department of Health and Human Services, Department of Housing and Urban Development, Department of the Interior, Department of Justice, Department of Labor and Related Agencies, Department of Transportation, Department of Veteran Affairs. That is 10 through 20. Section 4, the Economy, Department of Commerce, Department of Treasury, Export-Import Bank. And apparently they're saying that the Export-Import Bank should be abolished. And the case for the Export-Import Bank, Federal Reserve, Small Business Administration, Trade, the case for fair trade, the case for free trade. That is Chapters 21 through 26. And then Section 5, Independent Regulatory Agencies. 27, Financial Regulatory Agencies, Securities and Exchange Commission and related agencies, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Federal Communications Commission, Federal Election Commission, and then Federal Trade Commission. And then the afterword, which is titled Onward. So I know there was a lot of big words probably, or things that people just don't understand. So what I would say to tackle this, like I said, I do eventually, once I get a little bit more settled in everything that's happening in my life right now, I do want to come back and read this, right? Because this is an important election. And all I'm saying is get registered to vote if you are not registered, and do your due diligence, right? What really matters to you, but what also makes sense for the greater community, right? And so maybe start off with something that you're very passionate. So maybe you are very passionate about education and see what they're saying. You are very passionate about the environment, see what they're saying. And so it makes me sad to see people kind of making their decisions based off of like, oh, Trump gave me a stimmy and he did this, or Democrats don't do anything for black people. And it's like, the presidential election, it goes back and forth with like, especially when we go from Democrat to Republican. And that's not to say like, I've always been a Democrat, because that's just how I was raised, and that's what makes more sense for me, because that is what is more relatable for my lifestyle than Republican. And yeah, that's all I'm really gonna say on that part. But it's like, the constant, you have a Republican president. We had Bush, then we went to Obama, then we went to fucking Trump, then we went to Biden. So we went from Republican to Democrat to Republican to Democrat. It's constant undoing what the other person has done. Constant undoing of what the other person has done. Right? And when you look at like, what do certain people have to gain from things, it's just make an informed decision. So I also brought all of that up to say, like, back to going, you know, I don't want to wish death upon anybody, but it was like the dude said, like, this is the most annoying nigga that could have done it. Because why? You know, it's like, okay, it came out, you didn't get shot. It was the bullet ricocheted off the goddamn glass, and the glass flew and cut you. And honestly, I'm not even gonna hold you. Do I believe that? Everything was so delayed. I'm like, then you gonna get up and put up a fucking fist? And then you come with that fat ass fucking gauze on your fucking ear. Boy, we know that shit scabbed over. You are okay. You are fucking okay. Like, so fucking dramatic, right? And I'm not saying like, yes, to have an assassination attempt is wild, right? I'm just saying, my nigga, you didn't get shot. You don't need that big ass gauze. You probably don't even need a fucking band-aid, right? But you're using this to your advantage to see. There's been so many memes of supporters wearing a gauze on their ear in solidarity. Okay. So, again, just go out, vote, make informed decisions. There were other things I was going to say, but I've been talking for 1 hour and 30 minutes almost. So, yeah. I'm going to wrap it up at that. Y'all be safe. Make good choices.